Let me tell you about PBK. We're a firm that started about 30 years ago. I walked into a room alone and was alone for a couple years and continued to build the firm. And today, we're a comprehensive architectural and engineering firm, and our primary marketplace is educational facilities. We do a lot of K-12 work and we do a lot of higher ed work. Today we have about 400 people with 6 offices in Texas, and we have 4 offices in California. We have a culture of customer service. We think we treat our customers, we think it's one of the things that differentiates us from our competitors. I hit the age of 60 and I said, you know what, I've got to start looking at a succession plan for the future. We wanted to see the firm continue, and we knew that our careers were coming to some kind of an end in the not too distant future. So when we looked internally, we didn't think that was a good option. So we decided that we would do a partnership with an outside company, and we knew that we could, if it was the right company, we could take what we do, we could have an even bigger effect. You know, when I first began the process, it took some having some talks with myself to think that I was going to be giving up all that control, which I thought I would be doing. I just thought, okay, a strategic partner is going to come in, we're going to lose who we are, all the things that I'm able to work on with clients and with people. I'm not going to have that voice anymore, so it was pretty emotional. I'd spent a lot of years, giving up a lot of living, because when you have a business like ours, you're in the service business and it can just be dominating. And so, and I hope this doesn't sound wrong, but I wanted to maximize the financial return, and that. And then the other thing I wanted to do was I wanted to make sure that the people that made the firm what it is, that is my partners down to the assistants that we had, I wanted to make sure that they landed in a great place. So in our industry, there's a couple of large brokers, deal makers, investment bankers, whatever you want to call them, that kind of dominate the architectural and engineering industry, and we talked to those folks. It was so mechanical. They were such machines when they came into our office. And so, and believe it or not, the way I came across Benchmark is we got a call one day, and which was amazing. And normally those calls I wouldn't have taken, okay, except I was just in the process of saying, gosh, what are we going to do with the firm? And when the Benchmark person called me, the phone call was intriguing enough that we set up a meeting. And remember, we had already talked to a couple of the big firms, but we saw a huge difference. When we met with Clinton and Dara, they spent about 3 hours with us one afternoon, and then we went to dinner that night. And as I came back and told all the partners, and they were all in on this with me, our senior partners were part of the process, and we all agreed, hey, it's over. We want Benchmark. When we talked to Clinton and Dara, they understood there was a lot more to it than that. They understood that, gosh, this was a big portion of our lives. There's a lot of emotion involved here. There's going to be some things that are going to be a little bit painful. And then that was something that impressed us. And then the other thing is, at the end of the day, we're selling a company. So we got to have people that understand salesmanship. We got to understand how people can take a company and put their best foot forward. Not only did they recognize we were human beings, but the other thing they recognized was there were certain things about our company that we didn't realize, that if that were mixed with a particular type of buyer, that there would be a synergy that would be produced that would far exceed what we've been able to realize to date. It was all about, hey, where can this company go in 5 years, with the base that you have. And so I like to say that they came in and they weren't selling what we were today, they were selling the future. And that impressed us, and I'm going to state this very simply, they were human beings. Within 48 hours, there were 3 accountants in our office that were sifting through the mess that we had, that Benchmark brought in. So those comprehensive services, the fact that there was one point of responsibility, the fact that these people understood that we were human beings, and the fact that they understood how to maximize a return to us. And there were certainly other factors, but the financial, someone said, what was the number one reason? Money was a big deal, and they showed us how they were going to get us the most amount of money. And ultimately, when we went through the process, that absolutely happened. And we didn't know what the heck we were doing. We didn't really know what to expect. And one of the things we appreciated about Benchmark and the team was they laid out the entire process. And they were tireless in their responses to us when we had questions. We weren't sure how the world worked. Benchmark explained to us the advantages of us rolling over some of the stock and keeping some of the stock, and that turned out to be a huge advantage. So that was one of the major challenges, and that's when we really appreciated Benchmark. The character of companies, it's not how they act when everything is going right. It's how they act when challenges come up. It's how they act when things go wrong. How do they recover from that? And you'll appreciate Benchmark for all the normal things. But when you really appreciate Benchmark is when things don't go right. There were decisions made that weren't always in Benchmark's best interest, but they were in our best interest, okay? Their recommendations to us were consistently taking the road that was the best for the client. And that's really, really the mark of an incredible service-oriented company. But we've been super pleased with our buyer. They've just, and we've really come together well. More than anything, they're there when we need them. In the last 5 years, we have almost tripled. If you look at our gross revenue, if you look at our EBITDA, we've basically almost tripled. And so, which has been we've always had a nice growth rate, but this has been our highest growth rate is since we closed with the private equity firm. And I think, again, we had the right company, and they had the right formula for us. And again, I attribute the fact that when we analyzed all the potential buyers that Benchmark helped us come to this particular buyer, and it's just been a wonderful relationship. And everything they told us at the beginning turned out to be true. I'm talking about the buyer. They have left us alone. My advice to anyone selling a company, if you get private equity involved after the deal, try to continue to do add-ons or to make acquisitions that tuck in under your company. Yes, we're architects. That's our primary business. But now we're also in the private equity business. We don't have any experience. We don't know what we're talking about, but yet we have the smartest guys in the room as our partners. So let's not just be architects, let's also be private equity people by seeking out companies that we can add on, because every time we do, the day we've closed, we've made a lot more money. When it comes to Benchmark, they were not only our advisors, but they were our friends. And I mean that in a professional way. They became our professional friends. And the thing about friends don't let friends down. Okay, they just don't. And that's how we felt about Benchmark. We just said, you know what, these folks have our back. The single most important thing is bring the right partner in. If you bring the right partner in, everything else is easy, because they're going to guide you. They're going to bring people to the table that you need for this transaction. And so spend all your time on that partner and make sure it's not a mechanical partner that just comes in and wants to go through the deal and talk about finances. Make sure that these people are human beings. Make sure that they understand the emotional side of this, because that's a big deal. And that's what we saw in Benchmark, and that's what we saw that was so valuable to us. We didn't see it in the other companies, and that's why for 5 years, anyone that will listen, any of my compadres that have businesses that will listen, I tell them, you know what, the best decision you could make is use Benchmark.